I'm Jen Grosshandler.
And I'm Chazzy Grosshandler.
We're with the Gender Cool Project, and you're listening to
Out Chicago!
Woot!
That always makes me smile.
Chazzy makes me giggle. There we are. Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff and Ella Miller rolling along. Super duper duper beyond duper pooper excited about our next two guests because they are they're incredible human beings.
Yes,
two icons are back together again for 2 nights of the Big Gay Cabaret at the Mercury Theater, August 9th and 10th. The legendary duo and real-life besties. Welcome back to the show, Alexandra Billings and Honey West.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, kids.
Hi there. Good to have you.
Honey, are you there?
Here. Oh, yeah, I am.
Okay, great. Hi, babes. Hi, how are you? First of all, hey, before we get started chatting on everything, I just want to say congratulations on some of the recent stuff that you've been doing. Honey West, you just slayed in Theo Ubikwe's A Little Night Music. As my arm felt, there we are. Alexandra, you had a lovely little concert at a little tiny hall in New York.
Carnegie.
Maybe by the name of Carnegie. Congratulations, my friends.
Thanks, friend. It was super fun. It was unbelievable and super fun.
Yeah.
God.
You know, I'm so glad that I have the two of you together because I've got a question. How did you two meet?
Oh, God, we keep getting asked this question, and neither of us can remember.
I'm sure.
We're so incredible.
I think at first,
but we can't. We literally can't remember. Honey, you go. You tell this better than I do.
well, when I was doing Dirty Dreams at Puj Studios on Broadway, she was doing Gertrude Stein and Companion at Straw Dog. So I think our paths initially crossed there, but we may have heard about each other a little bit, but I think that's when we actually met, if I remember.
Wow. Okay, so it began as you two were working actors, theater artists here in Chicago. But when did I mean, was it Vampire Lesbians of Sodom? Was that the first show that y'all did together, or?
It is the first theatrical show. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
Was Vampires the first thing we did together as actors?
I think so. Didn't
I
we?
mean, did we? I really don't remember. Did we? It's so sad.
That's okay.
Did we do Vampires before we sang together?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I think so, because Doug Hartzell had come in and saw me perform cabaret and then asked me to be a part of Vampires. I believe that's how it happened.
Wow.
All right. And then
Figuring it out right here on Out Chicago.
And then from there, you two, look, all I'm hoping for, I cannot wait to be there on Friday, by the way, because I am having this giant flood of memories and nostalgia. My biggest wish is that the Mercury Theater somehow was magically transformed to the interior of Gentry on Halstead, because there were several wonderful nights hanging out there among those high boys, the tables, and also probably the high boys who were over in the corner, but just kind of watching the two of you do your cabaret show. Honey, what stands out from that era? Because that really is for me, that cemented my young queer Chicago experience, was seeing the two of you perform together.
Yeah, well, when I first started to put on makeup and sing, people weren't very interested. In fact, they looked at me like I was kind of crazy because I wasn't Mimi Marks from the Baton, or I wasn't all camp, just, being a camp queen. So they really thought that I didn't fit into a mold. So I asked, it was Tim Carr at the time before Gentry, and I said, when's your slowest time? He said, Sunday afternoons. I said, give me 2 hours. And then that's how I started working. I created a slot that didn't exist because nobody wanted me. So many, many years later, I pulled crowds, so they kept me around. And I used to do the earlier show, and then they booked Alex for the later show, and then we started crossing over, I guess is what happened.
Is there any, well, of course, you definitely, because there were always those moments of the two of you together. Is there any moment, Alexandra, that kind of stands out about your time performing? I remember one night watching you, you were up there singing. I think you and Honey were up there, and you had a cordless mic, and it was summertime or springtime, and the doors were open, and all of a sudden you, like the open window doors, the French doors, and you just kind of plopped on outside, and you just started walking up and down Halsted, just doing the show outside, and we're like, I'm just gonna go over here. Is there any, like, I mean, it was such a fun time, at least for an audience member. What are some of the memories that you have of that particular venue?
Well, you know,
things like
those days are sort of gone, you know, which is really sad because a lot of those clubs have closed. The days of the old piano bar, because that's really what Honey and I worked in. We did nightclubs, but we really sort of played mostly piano bars. And the difference is, at a nightclub, which is basically what we're doing at the Mercury, you come out and you do a set or a couple of sets, and then you leave. Like, that's it. And in a piano bar, you're there for 5-6 hours, you know, singing constantly and talking and making conversation, and it's much more relaxed, but it's also as much fun as it was, and it was an incredibly joyful time. It was also an incredible amount of work, because you have to remember, as much fun as y'all were having, y'all were also drunk and high. You know, giving hand jobs in the back. And Honey and I...
the good old days.
Yeah. Honey and I were you know, tap
working,
dancing, trying to get our tassels to stay on. So it was very joyful. I don't mean to say that it wasn't, but it was also an incredible amount of work. And I'll never forget the first time I played an actual club, which was, I think, Pops for Champagne. Was my first. Yeah, it was my first nightclub, and they said, I got the guy, you know, they called me and they said, we want you to come and sing. I was like, great. And it was a straight club in a straight part of town. I was like, perfect. This is exactly what I want to do. And they said, the set is from 8 to 9:30. And I said, oh, great. Well, when is the second set? And they said, no, that's it.
Yeah.
I said, what?
What?
And they said, no, that's it. And I said, well, I don't even know that I could do an hour and a half. I don't even know what that means. So, because I had been so used to stretching my music out for, 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So, once I started to play the nightclubs, I really didn't go back to the piano bars.
Right.
Yeah, you tasted the other
It's
life.
a lot less work.
Well, yeah, I found that we could do, or I could do, and Honey and I found this out together as we started to play theaters, that we could do what we did in those piano bars in an hour and a half and have just as much fun and be just as ridiculous, and then, be home, before the sun comes up on Denny's.
Right.
So can you give us an idea of what you both have in store for us with the Big Gay Cabaret happening this weekend at the Mercury?
Well, I think a lot of people...
What are you gonna do, girl?
Okay, give us a little tease. Give us a teaser of what's going on.
What Scott said, I think it's the same for us. And many people that knew us back then, it's a nostalgia. It's bringing back a lot of feelings and memories, and it was a different time. So we're going to do some of the stuff that people expect because they're asking for it. And then we'll do, typically we'll do a little banter and some opening, and then I will do a set, and then a little more duets and bantering. Alex does a set, and then, there's different ways we can end the show once we get well into it. So it's kind of a formula, but we're still we have a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, in other words.
Girl, and you got some space too. It was supposed to be in the Venus Cabaret, but y'all were just selling tickets like nobody's business, and they moved you to the big space in the Mercury Theater.
Yeah. And because of that, there'll be big dance numbers.
There's going to be
That's right. Exactly.
So much dancing
Yeah.
from the two of you.
Okay. Who knew?
I love that. Look, I've seen Alexandra wield a sword. You don't want to see her dance.
Yeah,
So.
Alexandra, speaking of seeing you, I've seen you on the Steppenwolf stage a couple of times. The Berlin Circle, I recall, A Time to Burn. Any plans to be back on a Chicago theatrical stage in an acting role anytime soon?
It's difficult, and the reason is because going to Chicago and doing a play requires a long period of time,
right?
Because of rehearsal and then actually doing the show. So a lot of times I say yes because I want to come back to Chicago, and I've been offered 2 or 3 things. But the problem is every time I say yes, something happens in L.A.
Yeah.
There's a TV thing or a movie thing or some kind of thing, and I hate to make commitments and break them.
Yeah.
So every time I go in, I say, listen, I'm saying yes now, but, if ABC calls, I got to go. And the theaters have always been very understanding, and they're like, well, we can't promise people that you're going to be here, and then you're not here. And so it's really hard. I think I would have to find something that was happening at a time when Hollywood is sort of dead, which is usually like now. And and do it then and make it sort of a short run. But it's not for lack of want.
I understand.
It's not for lack of want.
A lot of the Steppenwolf ensemble members have the same issues. It's been hard. We finally got Laurie Metcalf back after years of trying to get her back on stage from when, they often get the same kind of conflict. That's fame for you, Alexander. That's what happens when you're that popular. So
listen, there are far worse problems to have.
Yes,
honey.
there are.
So I'm very grateful.
Yes, very grateful. I hear you.
I'm very grateful for the two of you because, again, I've known both of you since, for a long time, and you two have known each other since Jesus was in diapers. And watching your chemistry and your talent together is always just really, really inspiring and just a delight. But it's also, it's very heartfelt because you two have really been bosom buddies for decades. I want to ask both. Here's my Barbara Walters question.
Here we go.
To both of you, what do you admire most about the other person?
Very good.
I have always tried to surround myself with people who were smarter and kinder and had a gift that I didn't have. And that certainly is Honey. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, more than anything is her ability to be a truth teller. And that has saved my life. Yeah. She has been able to say to me many, many times, don't do this or do this. She really is the main reason I have a Hollywood career, because I came out here and I was very reticent. And I said, I just done something, ER or something, and I said, I didn't like it out there. They're sort of mean and transphobic and icky. And she said, but listen, they're casting you. Mm-hmm. And you have to, she's the one who explained this to me. In order for the rules to change, you actually have to go in and play the game. So go in and say yes to everything. And then once you get it, then start saying no. And that has really worked for the last 15 years for me. So her love and friendship has saved my life many, many, many times.
Wow. That's heavy.
Honey, how does that make you feel?
Oh, wonderful. I always looked up to her because she was always so calm, so confident. Mm-hmm. And I was never confident. And I would see her do things that would just take a room and wrench them into a knot and then make them laugh. I was always in awe of what she's able to do and how she beat down doors, especially in the theatrical world, before I did. And probably I might not have had that opportunity if it had not been for her. The world has changed so much. Mm-hmm. And what I want to tell people now is that just because you don't see me, or I don't need you to see me for me to exist. A lot of people are judging all of marginalized people on whether they see that in you, whether they see if you're a woman or if they see that you're a gay man. And you don't have to see me for me to exist. So it's okay. Don't see me, but I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, well, let me tell you, like the two of you really, like, you've been inspirations for me for a very, very long time. And I, again, happy to call you friends, proud to call you friends, and I'm so freaking excited to come and see you all at the Big Gay Cabaret, because you really, like, the two of you are just like extra, you're extra special. There's something remarkable, and with all the work that you both do. So thank you for bringing so much joy. Thank you for bringing so much inspiration. Thank you for allowing the queer community and beyond a place to gather and to feel things deeply and to contemplate some really big ideas, and also, you know, throw in a fart joke at the end. You know, it's like,
I mean, what's the show without a good fart joke?
I don't know. That's why I do a good fart joke, or I try to, at least every show that we have here. Listen, my friends, living legends, inspirational performance, and pretty swell humans to boot. Thank you so much for joining us today. Chicago cannot wait to come see the Big Gay Cabaret featuring Honey West and Alexandra Billings, August 9th and 10th at the Mercury Theater.
And are there tickets still available?
I don't know. I mean, there might be
I'm
like
guessing we're almost sold out.
and
so
ticket, maybe two. But if you need to, go to biggaycabaret.com. Honey West, Alexandra Billings, you are superstars and wonderful humans. Can't wait to see you at the Big Gay Cabaret.
Break a leg this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.
All right, we've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.